Mr. Manoj, being a fantastic designer and also building level, how is urban society viewing the current situation as they are most affected? They are locked inside forever. Do you see a major change in their demand for the future of building design for their healthy living? Besides aesthetic and royal look, that's what we look at in the main cities, which is one of the major focus in the present urban design. How do you see the changes from today in the urban design?
First of all, a very warm good morning to all my dear friends, and
Thank
uh,
you.
and thanks for inviting me for this particular forum. In fact, the very specific and I mean immediate answer to your question is how is the urban society viewing the current situation? Is basically they are confused. Uh, I'm not speaking about this. I mean, I'm also part of the society, so I know how much confused I am. So we are all facing a very unique situation. I think it's the first situation for our generation. I think maybe this type of situation never happened in our generation or our. I mean, I haven't heard from my parents. So as you know that cities and urban centers are the worst affected by pandemic. The situation has exposed the existed problems in urban sprawls. And unraveling these problems help to bring the focus towards the current limitations of functioning urban systems in India. We can see that happening in almost all the cities all over. So health is always a primary concern for a better living, and pandemic situations reinforce this need deeper in the social fabric. This you can see in from the bubonic plague times. I think the many of our European nations and what we call the developed nations came to this particular situation after facing all the situations past. You can see from the urban history that how cities got transformed due to various situations they have faced in. Now we are also facing kind of a similar situation. I always feel that these are stepping stones for us to learn. I take it as positive. So, with the exceedingly exponential rate of urbanization in Indian cities, a resilient, healthy living is an anticipated productive response, which we have to. And the urban design will have its portion of impact due to pandemic hit and the change in social outlook and behavior will reflect in the future course of urban design in India. A change in the perspective, which takes up the health as a first and foremost concern in urban design, will balance functionality and aesthetics. And this approach should address the needs of efficiency and bring out the best out of the context shared. That is, in general, the opinion. So, without a safe shelter and access to basic services, the order to shelter in place has no meaning. I'm just quoting what Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, the executive director of UNDP, has mentioned in her report. So while sketching the boundaries of public and private spaces in an urban fabric, an emergency like a disaster or a pandemic drives back to the issue of housing. That's finally we come back to that particular issue, because if you take the land use of any city, you can see predominantly the land use is housing. I mean residential. So residential becomes a major component of any urban settlement. So housing policies which are of a longer pace, intertwined in social, political, and economic constraints, emphasize the need for a better, focused, and healthier development to eradicate the unevenly spread and inadequate housing issues. So we have to, rethinking on the concept of home is very important in this context. And assuring adequate safe space and hygiene in community living, dormitories, and lodging facilities, guidelines for the development of housing policies and interventions. So I think that urban designers or policymakers or architects who are working with the public works department or architectural sections of different government organization, they should plan beyond the immediate crisis to address long-standing societal needs issues. Indeed, worst case planning ultimately can produce valuable permanent benefits beyond battling the crisis. So always take it like that. You take it in a broader context. And poverty and lack of safe, sound, affordable housing, underlying contributors to the crisis, are among the persistent issues worth addressing. So I think if you take the situation as a positive thing, than getting confused, now it is the right time to really focus ourselves, our energy. And I think architectural community, the design community, is having major role to play in this post-COVID situation.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. I hope our policy makers are listening, designers of smart city, both brownfield and greenfield, to bring this kind of synergy and changes in the current design. Thank
Yes.
you, Manoj.